going to quickly revise the parathyroid glands. First we have to see where it is located. Okay, they are located on the back side of the thyroid gland. This is an important MCQ. So the parathyroid glands are located on the back side of the thyroid glands. This diagram I am going to explain. This is the neck region. In the neck, if you make an incision and if you see, there will be trachea. You can see the tracheal rings. So in front of the trachea you have a gland called as thyroid gland. The front portion. In front of the neck, if you make an incision and if you open it and see, you can see the trachea, the tracheal rings. In front of trachea you have thyroid gland, two lobes of the thyroid gland, right and left, joined by a path called as isthmus. If you look at the back side of the thyroid gland, this picture shows the back side of the thyroid gland, that is the dorsal side. Otherwise you can say back side of the thyroid gland or dorsal side of the thyroid gland. Front view is called as ventral side and back view is called as dorsal side. You can see one pair on each lobe of the gland. See, 1, 2, this is one pair and this side another pair. So right lobe has got one pair and left lobe has got another pair. So totally 4 small glands are present on the back side of the thyroid gland, or the back side is otherwise called as dorsal side. So location of the parathyroid glands or the back side of the thyroid gland or the dorsal side of the thyroid glands. How many in number? Now only we saw 1, 2, 3, 4. Totally 4 in number. One pair on each lobe, that is right and left of thyroid gland. Okay, so one pair, totally 4, one pair on each lobe of the thyroid gland, on the left side and on the right side. Where are the glands located? The back side or the dorsal side of the thyroid glands. So what does this gland secrete? It secretes a hormone. Hormones are chemical substances which is helpful in carrying out the various metabolic activities of the body. So hormone is the parathyroid hormone. The hormone, name of the hormone which is secreted by the parathyroid glands is called as parathyroid hormone. This is a peptide hormone. This is a peptide hormone. The main action of parathyroid hormone is to regulate the blood calcium level. Blood calcium level. Okay. So calcium is one of the important mineral for many functions of the body. The 3 most important functions are bone deposition, teeth formation. It helps in clotting mechanism. So calcium is needed for all these activities: bone formation, teeth formation, clotting factors, and you have some more functions of calcium. So in the blood calcium is always present. Okay, but the blood calcium level has to be in the normal range. The calcium level is very low, you call it as hypocalcemia. If the calcium level is very high, you call it as hypercalcemia. Okay, so there is a normal range for blood calcium level. If the blood calcium level is very low, you call it as hypo. If the blood calcium level is very high than the normal, then it is called as hypercalcemia. So from this we can understand that blood calcium level has to be maintained within the normal level. The parathyroid hormone regulates the blood calcium level by 3 ways: action on bone, action on intestine, action on kidneys. So it acts on bone, that is it stimulates or it increases the bone resorption. What is the meaning of bone resorption? That is dissolution or demineralization. That is dissolving the bone. Okay, if the bone is dissolved, see, bone is strengthened by means of calcium. The calcium crystals will be deposited in the bone matrix. Okay, in the bone matrix, it will be like a semi-solid form, the bone matrix. When the calcium crystals get deposited on the bone matrix, the bone will become more harder. Okay, so the hardness of the bone is due to the presence of calcium crystals. By dissolving the bone, what happens is calcium crystals will be released into the blood, so there will be increased blood calcium level. Okay, this is how, by acting on the bone, it dissolves the bone matrix. You call it as resorption. Opposite of this is deposition. Okay, if there is bone matrix and the calcium crystals are added and the bone is formed, you call it as bone deposition. or remineralization. This is demineralization. You can call it as opposite of this is remineralization. Okay. So by dissolving the bone matrix, the calcium crystals from the bone matrix will be released into the bloodstream. Thereby it increases the blood calcium level. So what is the function of parathyroid hormone? Ultimately it has to increase the blood calcium level. The level of calcium in the blood will be increased by the action of parathyroid hormone. Next, action on intestine. So when you take food, you will have calcium in the food. Okay. So it increases the calcium absorption from the food. It increases the calcium absorption from the digested food. So this parathyroid hormone increases the calcium absorption from the food material. Next, action on kidneys. It increases the reabsorption of calcium by renal tubules. So you know there is you might have studied in mechanism of urine formation, there is reabsorption of certain minerals. So this parathyroid hormone increases the reabsorption by increasing the intake of calcium from the renal tubules. This calcium is again recirculated to the blood, thereby increasing the blood calcium level. So the action of parathyroid hormone is to increase the blood calcium level by dissolving the bone matrix or increasing the bone resorption. It increases the calcium absorption from the food. It increases the reabsorption or reuptake of calcium by the renal tubules of the kidneys. Finally, the blood calcium level will be increased. Next, calcium balance in the body is maintained by two hormones. This parathyroid hormone and thyrocalcitonin. So the hormone with antagonistic effect to PTH is thyroid hormone. It means what? This thyroid hormone will decrease the blood calcium level, whereas the parathyroid hormone will increase the blood calcium level. Both will have opposite action on the calcium. So the calcium balance in the body is maintained by parathyroid hormone and thyrocalcitonin. That is, one increases the blood calcium level, other one will decrease the blood calcium level. By adjusting this hormonal level, our body regulates the blood calcium level in the normal range. So what is the regulatory mechanism? This is if the so will the parathyroid hormone will be secreted continuously? No. When the blood calcium levels are very low, the body senses the blood calcium has to be raised. By that time, it releases parathyroid hormone, and this parathyroid hormone will increase the blood calcium level. So how does this parathyroid hormone is secreted? Now we can quickly revise the important MCQ points. The parathyroid glands are located on the back side or on the dorsal side of the thyroid glands. Totally they are 4 in number, 1 pair on each lobe, that is the right lobe and left lobe. Total number is 4, 1 pair on each side, that is on the right lobe and on the left lobe of the thyroid gland. The name of the hormone secreted by parathyroid glands or parathyroid hormone, it is a peptide hormone. Another MCQ, the mode of action. What is the action of parathyroid gland? It regulates the blood calcium level, that is it increases the blood calcium. What is the mode of action? How does it increases the blood calcium level? Action on bone, action on intestine, action on kidneys. It increases the bone resorption and increases the blood calcium level. It increases the calcium absorption from the food and increases the blood calcium level. It increases the reabsorption or reuptake of calcium by renal tubules of kidneys. Thereby it increases the blood calcium level. If the calcium level is low than the normal, you call it as hypocalcemia. If the calcium level is higher than the normal, you call it as hypercalcemia. Both these conditions are dangerous. It should be maintained within the normal range. So how does the calcium balance is maintained in the body? By two hormones, parathyroid hormones, which increases the blood calcium level, and thyrocalcitonin, which decreases the blood calcium level. By adjusting these two hormones, the blood calcium level is regulated in the normal range. Hormone which has got the opposite effect of parathyroid hormone is the thyroid hormone, that is it decreases the blood calcium level. So how does the parathyroid hormone secretion is regulated? It is decided by the circulating blood calcium ions. How does the parathyroid hormone secretion is regulated? It is by means of the amount of calcium ions which are present in